kind of like going to a concert. You just get that energy and that feeling.
It really is an energy thing that I was not expecting. And concert's a good way to think about it.
Today, me and Skylar are going to talk about our Andy Elliott experience. Love him or hate him, this is what you can learn from him. We're going to go through some of our takeaways from experiencing his live events. We're going to walk through our initial preconceived beliefs or thoughts about Andy Elliott as well.
Our biases.
And at the end of the day, the goal of these videos or the books that we review, the influencers that we critique, we're really just looking for things that we can learn from. We're not here to nitpick. We're not looking for negativity. Because I honestly believe that you can learn something from everybody.
Yeah.
And the internet, social media is all about looking for the one thing that you can take away or that you can nitpick at that person. There's plenty of other videos out there for that. So join us on this journey into the Lion's Den. We're going to have a good time. Let's go through preconceived notions.
Yeah.
What were your initial thoughts of Andy Elliott? How did you discover him? How did you learn about him?
Yeah. Well, I think I discovered him like everyone else did. I randomly saw an Instagram reel of a guy telling people to take their shirts off on stage and talk about having a six-pack and, I don't know, being loud, being different, I would probably say is a better way to put it than most influencers. And then, we got connected with the guys over at the Elliott Group, the Lion's Den, and we had the opportunity to go to an event back in my first event that I went to back in February. And I'll be honest, I was extremely nervous. I kind of didn't want to go.
What were you nervous about?
It's just not my personality. I'm more quiet, more reserved, and you've seen the videos, you see how they are, their energy, and then they're louder, they're in your face. And
I think they're more like hyenas. Just
okay.
Crazy loud.
Yeah.
Just
Yep. And that's not me.
That's not in a bad way. Lions, hyenas kind of get a bad rap, but they just energy, and they're just like a pack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And 100%. And so going to that and knowing the guys from the Elliott Group already, I was like, oh God, I'm a little nervous. Andy's gonna call me on stage. I'm gonna shit in the bed in front of 1,000 people, however many people are at these events.
He's gonna post it on his Instagram.
He's gonna post me on his Instagram. Yeah. And so I was really nervous, and then you get there and immediately you're like, oh, something is unique. Something's different. The energy, you can feel it right off the bat. And then, you go through the day, there's a workout. Everyone's doing a workout in Arizona, outside, during the day. Luckily in February it was 80 degrees and 120. And then that energy carries. And then you go inside and Andy goes off and he motivates you. Like, I don't know how he does it. I think he just spits it off the top of his head. He motivates you, and the next day is a full day of training where he's bringing in guests. And at the end of that, you're like, okay, there's something here. In person is so much different than the Instagram. You'll get 30-second moments in an 8-hour training day where you're like, oh, that could be an Instagram clip. But for the most part, it is such just like raw energy and motivation and just like one-liners, things to put in your head that really change the way you think versus my preconceived notion, my bias was we were going to get there and everyone's going to take off their shirt and he's going to make fun of everyone. And that wasn't what it was at all. And then at the end of that training, I bought another ticket. You and me bought another ticket to go to the next training. And then you went to another one.
Yeah.
The spouse one.
Yeah, I've been to 3 events so far. First one, super skeptical.
Yep.
Didn't want to go to it. Not my flavor.
Yep.
I'm not a rah-rah, hype beast sales guy. But went to the event. As soon as I get there, I didn't know what to expect. I was just thinking, one, I didn't think that anyone was really even gonna be there. Like, I was just like, is anyone even gonna show up to this? Like, is this just like all clickbait? Is this just all social media? Is it all a show? That was my first thought. We show up and everyone is hyped up. Like, what's up, man? What's up? Hello, hello. The energy
Everyone's
is unreal.
introducing themselves to each other. Everyone's swapping Instagrams. Everyone's making friends.
Yep.
Which is terrifying for me.
Tons of energy and super contagious. I would say that's just the biggest thing that I take away every time is I'm just like, I need to have that energy to where when people are around me, I go, I want to spend more time with him. Like, he just makes me feel energetic. I think the twins, Ian and Evan, are super good at this, so shout out to them.
Yeah.
Every time I see them, I know they don't remember my name, but they act like I'm their best friend. And I think that they think I'm their best friend.
Your name.
But
it's and Andy talks about this. He called you master the stranger.
Master the
And
stranger.
They are masters of it, and that's something that was one of my biggest takeaways. Is like, I'm the guy who won't introduce myself and is not going to go up to you, but they're so good at that initial interaction, that 30 seconds. They're so warm, they're so energetic. You're like, what the hell? I want to keep talking to these guys. Why? They're making me feel good.
Yeah.
With that energy.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Let's go to love them or hate them. This is what you can learn from them section.
Okay.
I'm gonna walk through my biggest takeaways from this last event.
Yeah.
I want you to reiterate what you said at the beginning of this. You're not really going per se to learn sales language. You're gonna learn some good language, but I think you're really learning more mindset. You're learning more business development. Walk us through your top takeaways, things that you've learned, things that you're applying and been working on the last couple weeks.
Yeah. Well, going back to the love them or hate them. It's just like when you read a book, right? You're not going to love every single word of the book. You're going to find your key takeaways, and it's a long day. It's an 8-hour straight training of Andy talking for 8 hours. Yeah. There's a lunch break, and sometimes there's guests, but it's not. He almost breaks it down to the fundamentals, where he doesn't just go up there and just spout one-liner sales languages. He's really trying to change the step before that, which is your confidence. And when I sat back and wrote all these notes and then highlighted my key takeaways, it really was, my key takeaways were all about leadership. He talks about how if you're in sales, you're a leader, because you're leading clients, you're leading customers, you're leading your sales team, your back-end staff, whatever it might be. So a couple of my key takeaways was, be the leader that you've looked for but never had. That had me spinning. I was like, okay, what do I want my leader to be? Who am I trying to look up to? Well, I need to be that for other people, right? If I'm trying to find that person, other people are too, and I'll be that person.
I need to write that down.
The next one is, I think a lot of people get hung up on titles. Oh, I'm director of this, I'm VP of that. And he goes, leaders don't have titles, they have followers. Yeah, it does. Who cares what your title is if no one's going to follow you? And then this leads into, Logan and I talked about this one a lot after the event, but he talked about what's moral authority. And the basis of that is, when people talk to you, they just know you know. They're like, yeah, you have the moral, whether it's finance like us, or the solar guys that he works with, or the car sale guys, or any industry. It's like, yeah, no one's gonna listen to you if you don't have that moral authority where they talk to you and they're like, he knows what he's talking about.
Right. Well, I think to go off that moral authority piece, we had a meeting today.
Yeah.
You were getting hit with questions, just softballs. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily, I don't like fake it till you make it. Someone can fake it with confidence and say something with confidence, but when you actually know your stuff, people can tell that you're being genuine and that you're just telling them the facts.
Yeah.
So I think that's huge, especially in our industry, knowing what you talk about, because you can sniff it out right away when someone does not know what they're talking about.
Yeah. 100%. And something that was interesting about the last master class, the most recent one we went to, is he talked it was a lot about leadership and building that initial confidence in yourself, which is huge. If you've worked in sales, you know, if you have anxiety, whoever you're talking to and trying to sell to immediately knows that you have anxiety. Whether it's they consciously know or subconsciously know. It's in the air. But then he leads that to like, okay, you need to build your own confidence, you need to be your own leader, build your moral authority, which is your knowledge base, and then you sell logically. That was a huge component of what he talked about, which I thought was interesting because I'd never seen him talk about that on social media, is using logic and numbers. But you can't use logic and numbers to sell until you've mastered or whatever your own emotional side of things. That's kind of how I was thinking about it.
Yeah.
If you don't have your own emotional confidence, it doesn't matter how good the numbers look. Because he also talked about whoever tells the best story wins. Or whoever has the most conviction wins, blah, 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 blah. Like, there's a million ways to think about it, but it's like, you need to build your own confidence, you need to become your own leader, get your moral authority, so you have your emotion handled, and then you sell logically.
Yeah. The way I'm thinking of it, or the way I would rephrase that, step one, you've got to build the rapport, you got to have the emotional intelligence to connect with the person on a deeper level. But at the end of the day, math is math, people aren't stupid. And I think that's where that moral authority comes in of you've got to know your stuff.
Yeah.
They're going to fact check you, all of those things. Yeah. And something that I really like that you said, the second that you tell a lie, it's over.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, that's really big for me. Second, one time. You cross me one time, I catch you one time, trust violated, done deal.
Would you be in a relationship with someone who lied to you? And then everyone goes, no. And then what's the next question?
Then why are you still in a relationship with yourself?
Yep. Because you keep lying to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was huge, and I think eye-opening. Fitness, business, your family, do you say what you're going to do? And I think this is where it's hard. It's easy for somebody to say and look at the camera, why do you lie to yourself? You say you want to get in better shape. Why are you eating that corn dog? Why are you fat? Why are you doing this? Why are you going home early? Yeah. Oh, you're feeling tired today? Like, that can get overwhelming. And that's kind of, Andy has that energy where it's like, bro.
Yeah.
And I think it's a process where you slowly start to change one step at a time, 1% at a time. Mm-hmm. I've been working through this, like we want an overnight success, but the truth is it literally takes 3 months, 6 months. I remember when I was, right now, I'm trying to cut weight right now, but when I weighed 225, my goal is to get to 175. Yeah. I remember somebody telling me it takes 3 weeks for you to tell. It takes another 3 weeks for those around you that are close to you to tell. Yeah. And then it takes another 3 weeks for everybody to start telling that, oh dude, this guy's got a bicep vein, like this guy's starting to work out. But yeah, I love that. would you stay in a relationship with somebody that lies to you? Then why are you still in a relationship with yourself? I'm like, that's gonna be on his Instagram.
Yeah, no, it is. It really is, and it made me think pretty critically of myself.
Yeah.
You know what? When I went to the gym and I only worked out for 20 minutes, and I wasn't feeling it, but I still counted that as a full workout. I was like, yeah, I'm lying to myself. And that's something too. You notice it on the Instagram, the fitness side of things. That's like their second principle is like fitness. And I always thought it was a little bit silly. Like, I'm not reasonably fit. And then after February, I started taking it a little bit more seriously. And it is wild how much confidence that actually brings you. And like, I'm wearing a suit, you can't even tell. But just me knowing the little progress I made, the bicep vein that I'm getting on my right arm right now, I know it's there. It does, for some reason, gives you so much more confidence in yourself that then weirdly leads to you being better at everything else. Because it really I think his main thing is it all starts with you. And the first note, I think this is one of the first lines that he said the last time we went. And he goes, if it's not you, then who? It's like, yeah, it all starts with just you. And however you need to build your own confidence, and they've just figured out a way to do it with family, fitness, and faith that makes them superheroes of unbelievable confidence. That just then leads them being naturally good at literally everything else they have, because their energy is just so enthusiastic and they're so charming. And they just have such high confidence, it just translates to everything else. Because it's not because they have this crazy sales language. They have really good language, but their language only sounds so good. If Logan and I said one of the same things that Andy said, it would not come across the same way, because we don't have, to the extent that he does, the confidence that stems from whatever he's done in his brain to make him an animal.
And I think everyone has their own style, right?
That's true.
And that's what I took from him. I'm like, he knows what he's good at. He knows how to talk to people.
Yeah.
I would not say that. The same thing he said to somebody, I would not say that to somebody. Like, It would just come off differently. I think I want to spend some time talking about, because I think it's the most overlooked thing. So, if anyone knows the story of Andy Elliott, was in car sales, transitioned to coaching. Dude has a Reddit thread about him. Tons of polarizing people on his social media, has a very cult-like following.
Yeah.
We went and visited it. Honestly, I met some great down-to-earth people there. A lot of small business owners. He teaches a lot of principles about business, about fitness, and just about mindset. I think that's the biggest takeaway. So love him or hate him, I will preface that a lot, because I don't want you to get turned off of whether you hate Andy or you love Andy. I want you to listen to what we can learn from him. Like, we are doing a case study here of just our small experience. Car sales, doesn't even know how to use Facebook, didn't have a Facebook,
Used his wife's Facebook,
starts this coaching program. I think that, the modern day business world, social media, just like internet marketing, branding, I think that often gets overlooked. I look at all these brands that I enjoy. I got introduced to them on social media.
Yeah.
Then social media. But I would say, and maybe this is some feedback, I think me and you, we were almost turned off because it was almost too much clickbait, too much take your shirt off, too much macho man.
But they've started a slight shift. If you've noticed, Andy and Jackie, his wife's social media, there's always still the rah take your shirt off, 6-pack shit crap. Beep. But they're adding a lot more family stuff all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Just team stuff, or them hanging out with the team, them cooking dinner. I think they're realizing that. I think they've, not to take away whatever point you're gonna make, they've built such a good following based off of the clickbait stuff that now they're transitioning it where they're finding that balance.
Finding that balance. Yeah. And I would say continue to lean into that, because I've noticed that too.
Yeah.
And that's just like, I think the side that like I think more people need to get exposed to, because they're like knowledge bombs the whole time. It's
like 8 hours straight of just knowledge bombs.
Yeah.
And that week, I remember in February when we went, you and I were talking, like, they need to post more of this. Like, I don't feel like and maybe I just don't see it. These master closer seminars that they're doing, I don't see those on the social media.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm just missing it. But like, it's shocking how many people are there.
Yeah. There's a ton of people there. Like I said, I didn't even know if this was going to be real. I thought we were going to show up and there was going to be some goofy kids there.
Yeah.
But there's legit business owners that do massive things.
Yeah.
And I think kind of like another key takeaway that I had from the seminars that I've been to is probably the biggest one is just communication, becoming a master communicator.
Yeah.
Learning to talk in front of people. Literally goes up and stands with a microphone for 8 hours, no PowerPoint slides.
No, yeah.
He just cooks.
Yeah.
With the mic. And honestly, it's just super impressive that I'm sure he prepares, I'm sure he has notes, I'm sure he has stuff that he plans on talking about, but the way that he's just able to articulate his message, it's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
For 8 hours.
Yeah. Well, and that too, it's not just Andy. Jackie went up.
Jackie's awesome too.
Same thing. I'm sure there's some rough notes that they're going through in the back of their head. Jackie goes up, crushes for like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah.
Then the twins, they go up, crush. Like every single one of them, just, again, they're so good at whether it's mastering the stranger or just masters of communication. You can't knock how well they are.
Yeah.
At just communicating.
Yeah, their soft skills, flat out the best I've ever seen. Just like master communicators. So that's like my biggest takeaways. I don't even go for the content. I'm just going and I'm literally just watching them.
Watching
how the heck do they shake hands? How do they just like nonchalantly move their hands when they're talking?
Yeah.
Not like, you know, like how do they get the audience to engage? Hey, like how do they just like, because they get the whole audience to, oh yeah, like how do you just get engagement in natural ways? It doesn't feel super like, I don't know, it just feels like they've done it a million times, which I think is part of it. This was a one-liner that I really like. And this is the reason why I started doing podcasts, I started filming some content, and honestly just not caring as much about what other people think. But Andy says, and I'm gonna keep it clean because I try not to swear, but he says, just start doing bad shiz. I love that. I just tell myself that, like,
it doesn't work as well when you don't say
okay, just start doing badass shit.
There you go.
Go do stuff. Like,
yeah.
I think at the end of the day, it's just action. And this is where the gurus and everyone on social media, it's kind of overwhelming because like, at the end of the day, people need to quit just watching those videos. They just need to go get to work. They need to start doing stuff.
Well, and I have this quote on my phone, and it has stayed the same forever, and it's take ownership and be undeniable. That's been like the two little phrases that's been on my phone. After the first Andy Elliott event, I added another one, and it was get uncomfortable to kind of go off of that. You just got to go do things. And then a month later, I did a first public speaking gig, and that was terrifying. I was sitting in my car before, like shaking, and it wasn't even that many people. It was like 100, 150 people.
Still.
But I've never done public speaking before, and it was literally, the only reason I did it is because of Andy, and he goes, you just got to do things, and I'm like, I got to get up on the stage and I got to talk. and and now I want to do it more. And I would have said no to that 100,000 times. And it's just, you just got to do it.
Yeah.
Get uncomfortable.
I think we could spend a little bit of time on this. Just the idea and the thought of overall being a leader, whether you're a leader in your family, a leader with your friends, a leader at work, even if you're not the boss, even if you're day one on the job. I think that this is probably one of the most influential things and important things that you can learn is how to be a leader.
Yeah.
And that's why I say those qualities that we kind of talk about: master of communication, master of soft skills. When someone walks in a room, you can tell, 1, he's confident, 2, he knows his stuff, 3, follow. I will follow him. And it doesn't have to be official. I think a lot of times we think we have to have the title, but there's a lot of like just non-official leaders that people are like, I'm gonna follow that guy.
Yeah.
And you know, not afraid to stand up for what's right.
Yeah.
I kind of think flashback to my kind of sports days. Like, I was never a captain because I was never the best player on the team. Sports, it's always the best player.
Yeah.
But oftentimes the best player isn't always the best quote unquote leader sometimes.
Yeah.
But I feel like I was always that kind of unofficial leader to a lot of people, like not the best, but still leading. I don't know. We'll cut that out. But anyways, I'm going to cut out the going back to high school, because then someone's going to see this from high school and be like, you're a freaking dumbass. No one looked up to you for shit.
Leave that in. Leave that in. Someone from high school comment. We did go to the same high school together. So.
That's true. That's true. Chucky and me played football together. Recap. Overall, Andy Elliott, love him or hate him. I've said that a lot.
Yeah.
I'm very torn. I go to the events and I'm like, holy cow, this guy's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the energy. And like I said, the biggest thing is just what can I learn from him?
Yeah.
One, I would love a masterclass on his marketing. I would love, because he did the clickbait. He's gone viral. He's amassed, I think, he's got like 1 million followers on Instagram, 2 million followers.
2, and I think he said
2
he's
million.
gonna have 3 by the end of the year. I'll check.
Yeah, check right now. But the way that he's just been able to build a following, 2.4 million. So
in like 3 years.
Social media presence, crazy, through marketing. The second thing, how he's just created a culture. I think that's the biggest thing with brands these days. You see it with a lot of fitness brands. You see it with some of these, like, you know, you've seen it with the Elliott Group. They're just able to build a culture where we showed up and we're like, dang, like, this is a legit thing.
Yeah, I bought a shirt.
Like, yeah,
I wanted to be part of
it's like that's the perfect way to combine it. You go to a concert and you're like, dude, this concert's awesome. I'm loving the music. I gotta buy a t-shirt.
Yes.
Like, I'm with my people. Like you're singing with the guy next to you that you've never met before.
Yeah.
That's exactly, there we go. We just case closed. It's kind of like going to a concert. You just get that energy and that feeling.
It really is an energy thing that I was not expecting. And concert's a good way to think about it, because you go, oh, I didn't go to another concert, it's been a while, because it really does. It amplifies you. It makes you start thinking. And again, you're not gonna love every single thing he says. He literally talks for 8 hours. You're not going to love every single piece of it. I'm gonna say you're probably gonna like 70% of it, and you're gonna love probably 20, and 10% you're gonna be like, okay, whatever. But you want that energy shot back into you. That's how I would think about it.
And Andy closes me every time.
Yeah, he does.
He literally
I'm going again in September.
Yeah, and I've been to a couples retreat. So the couples retreat was unique. That one was really cool because I took my wife and we were able to be with other couples. So it wasn't like all the rah-rah, just dudes hanging
Sales
out.
bros.
Like, the sales bros. It was primarily business owners. I met some really cool people that, across the country.
Yeah.
And that's the cool thing. Like, it's so, I meet someone, I'm like, you like Andy Elliott? Like almost surprised. Because chiropractors, plumbers, electricians,
from
HVAC,
all over.
Sales. What was another one? Compliance officer.
Yeah.
Like, I've met just all different types.
Yeah.
And so I think
construction guys.
Construction.
That. Because it's, go back to what I said, it's less sales than you think it is. He's a sales coach, but it's going back, it's the energy, the confidence, the moral authority, just the mindset.
How to lead.
Yeah.
How to influence. Mindset. I would say those are probably the three, in fitness, like those are the three key pillars. And just self-development. And so, take your shirt off!
No.
But the biggest takeaway too is, because I hear people all the time, it's all about the emotion, it's all about the soft skill. But then I hear some people, it's just all about the numbers, it's all about, does it make sense? Math is math. And I love the idea of just marrying the two together, because you might be able to emotionally, they're like, wow, I really like Skylar.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this conversation. I feel like I trust you. But then the second the math doesn't add up, out the window.
Yeah.
And I think
it is both.
What Andy said is, if you can get somebody to be bought in on the logic, but then also the, I really like you, that's when it goes from just a transaction to, they're going to send you referrals.
Yeah.
They're going to be a repeat customer. Like, that's what he said. What? Referrals, repeat customer. There's another R that he alluded to. But I think that's really what anyone, and I'm really speaking to other service-based businesses that are similar to ours, not necessarily just sales, because it's not transactional what we do. No. It's important that we have a client. We don't want a transaction. We want somebody that's going to continue to, one, want to work with us, and two, send people our way, because that's just how we grow. We grow through referrals. We grow through networking, and that's where you become bulletproof in the long run. I would compare, because you've read tons of self-mastery books, self-help books. I've been to other seminars, I've been to other events, I've paid for coaching, I've done all these things. I don't think that you see like an immediate return, but it's kind of like compound interest. It just slowly starts to stack to where things finally start to stack on top of each other.
Yeah, you want it to get one or two things just get stuck in the back of your head and your subconscious, and it sits there and it just grows, but it got planted at one of these events or the book you read. Like, this applies to everything. You don't even realize it. It's just in your subconscious. Like, I'm remembering now, as we're talking about this, a lot of my takeaways from the first event that I haven't thought about. But they were planted there, and now I'm thinking, I'm like, oh, I have started doing that. I have made that shift. And that's what you're trying to find is, you're not going to be on your flight home and be a different person. I don't know, you might. They're pretty infectious, those guys. But the next event you go to, you're going to be a little different. Yeah. And then you go again, and you're going to keep building and growing and growing and growing and growing and growing.
Wrapping up, those were our biggest takeaways from today, or from our weekend retreat in good old Arizona.
Yeah.
Definitely probably go to another one. I think it would be fun to go to other coaches, go to other events. There's a ton of bullshit out there. There's a ton of garbage. There's a ton of clickbait. There's a ton of hype about everything.
Yeah.
And this is one critique, I think. Invest in yourself, but also don't just invest in yourself by like paying money to coaches, buying courses, doing things that are distracting you from what you should be doing. Like, at the end of the day, you know what you need to do.
Yeah.
You go to these seminars, you hire a coach to help you work on something, but first you got to have action. For example, YouTube videos. I'm not going to go hire a YouTube coach on how to make my YouTube videos better. I've made 3 YouTube videos. So I think at the end of the day, just start doing stuff. So if you're watching this video, you're like, I hate Andy Elliott, I hate Grant Cardone, I hate all these hype people. Just start doing stuff. And then, yeah, when you go to those events, you might start learning things. So.
Yeah. And again, I'm just going to say it. This love him or hate him, as Logan has been putting it. It doesn't matter if you love him or hate him. Just try to learn constantly. That is one of the things he talked about. Learn constantly. You can learn something from everyone. And you can learn quite a bit from these Elliott guys.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. I've learned a ton.
Yeah.
And I don't even think it's with these I don't know, coaches, influencers. Do that with everyone. You can learn something from everyone. And it's like, it's that art from the artist conversation a little bit. And it's like, yeah, you can always take away at least 1 or 2 things that you can implement in your life from any book, any movie, any influencer, any coach. It's like, yeah, love him or hate him, but you don't need to just, he wants you to shit on him. Is the reality. He actually
the marketing, and that's like I want him to go up and say, my plan was to piss off as many people as possible, and I'm gonna give you my honest opinion. You're fat and lazy. Like and that's the thing. I kind of like, because dude, there's fat people at Andy Elliott, and I like it. I like it because it's like, dang, like respect, and like not everyone there, like not everyone that works for him has a 6-pack. Like it's the progression, it's the progress.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is kind of that clickbait stuff.
Learn and make progress.
Progress is the biggest thing. So, anyways, I don't know. We're gonna
we can keep talking about this forever.
Yeah.
We could probably go for 8 hours.
You got a final you want to say? Yeah, we're done.
This is the one thing I will say. Going back to what we were just talking about. Love him or hate him. If you hate him, stop commenting on his shit, because that is what is working for him. So if you actually hate him and you don't want to see his stuff, they have somehow learned the algorithm. If you stay on a video for 5 seconds or you make a comment, guess what? That's all you're getting for the next week. They figured it out. So if you truly do hate him,
the fact that you clicked on this video, there's probably going to be an Andy Elliott ad after this.
Yeah, probably.
Also, if you use my code, I don't have a code.
That's what we got. We should ask him for a code. Oh, insert my photo with Andy Elliott right now.
So just click on the link above